Hello, ladies and gentlemen, metalheads all over the world. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Horsemen Podcast. We're getting close to 100 episodes. We're on 87 now, and yeah, we got a pretty cool one right here. As you guys all know how much I love Blood Red Throne, and I always have the itch to get as many of the members current and past all on here because Blood Red Throne's become one of my top 20 favorite bands of all time, and the latest member to that legacy. Please welcome the new guy, the new frontman, Sindre Johnsen. How's it going,
Thank you very
sir?
much. It's going well. How about you?
Could be better. We talked about it before we recorded, but it's getting better now, so that's good. But, so yeah, for those who don't know, Sindre is not only the new frontman of Blood Red Throne, but he's also in two other pretty cool underground bands in Norway, Celestial Scourge and Deception, which I have reviewed both bands with their latest albums. Both were killer, in my opinion, especially, I would say, Celestial Scourge, like, in terms of, like, tech death. Probably one of the best albums I've heard this year, although I need to revisit it again eventually for the year-end lists, because that's going to be a challenge, but yeah.
There's a lot of cool stuff coming out nowadays, but I appreciate your words. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, man. But, of course, as I should tell you, basically whenever we do these shows, we don't really necessarily treat it so much like an interview, more like as if we're talking shop at a show or out and about, just like normal people, getting to talk about the music we love and other interests that we may have in common and so on and so forth. Of course, when we had Gunnar or Stian on here a couple of times, he was super fun to like really get down into the nitty-gritty about like death metal and bass players and all that good stuff.
Yeah, he's got a lot of like knowledge about like these underground stuff. It's always fun to like ask him about like recommendations for things to check out, because he always has like an answer. Like something obscure you've never heard before. Yeah, which I've been needing to get Gunnar back on here, considering the last time we were doing the show together, kind of disastrous in terms of internet connection, and the episode's up, unfortunately, for all to see, but the first time we had him on was very, very smooth, so hopefully connection issues will have been sorted out, because got some catching up to do with that kid. Yeah, he's not the greatest at like computer stuff.
Yeah,
I'm trying to teach him some stuff, but it's not everything goes in.
Right. Well, I guess a good place to really get started, considering as I've praised the living hell out of Blood Red Throne for years now. Curious on how you got the job to be the new frontman after Bolt.
I got a call from Daniel, saying that they were. He was asking me about like if I would be interested in joining the band, and since I've been like a long time friend of the band, I think we played our first show together with them, like supporting them in like 2013, 2014, when I was like 17 or 18 years old. We did a show with them in Oslo, and we've been staying in touch ever since. And then I know the previous bass player pretty well, Ole Bent. He's a good friend of mine. And then after a while, I started hanging out with Stian a lot, and joined Celestial Scourge, and it kind of just developed pretty naturally. Like I've been doing albums for a lot of years, and I took over vocals in 2018 for Deception. So I guess they must have heard it and like what they heard. I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, they better, since they gave you the call to say, "Hey, come sing for us, damn it."
Yeah, for sure. But it was pretty smooth from like I got the first call till I started like recording the album, and then I did my first show with them like a month after. And
wow. Oh, so
So like
within a month.
yeah, basically. So it was pretty a pretty stressful but smooth transition, at least on my part. I don't have any knowledge about like the other stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, and also I've become solid friends with the previous frontman, Bold. Hell, I had him
Mm,
on the show like a little while before he bowed out. And I would have assumed, yeah, he probably left to focus more on like other projects he was doing because I think he's got his own management company too that he's
mm,
managing bands and also family, which can't fault him for that. I mean, family comes first kind of situation and such.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, he did a great job, and I would say your vocal performance on Nonagon, while I haven't gone back to it as much as I probably should have because there's just so many albums and bands to listen
Mm,
to, you can't keep track of everything all the time, but I would say your vocal performance was pretty damn top notch. Like,
thanks, dude.
hell, even my buddies from Thralls of Metal would even say like you kind of remind me a little bit of Trevor from Black Dahlia Murder.
Ah, that's fucking sick. Thank you.
Yeah,
It's
like in the low range, and then even the big screams, kind of Trevor-esque, which I always loved Trevor's vocals, and
yeah, me too.
that one still stings.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah,
It's he's probably like, at least for my own vocals, it's one of like the biggest inspirations, at least for highs. It's like getting that like pronunciation behind the words. It's pretty important to me, at least. So, and he was the best at it, basically.
yeah, like those maniacal, almost Kremlin-esque screams that he'll do, are just so like batshit insane.
Yeah, for
Remember,
sure.
yeah. But who would be some of the influences for like when you do the low stuff?
For years, it has been like, of course, Mikael Åkerfeldt from Opeth, uh, and also I really like Seth in Septic Flesh.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I think he does some really cool lows. But like in recent years, I've probably gone more over to like Travis Ryan from Cattle. Uh, I just recorded the vocals for the new Blood Red Throne album, and just before that, I was watching like a lot of Travis interviews and live performances, and yeah, it was trying to get into that headspace because he's just fucking sick.
Yeah, and like yeah, with Travis, like it still boggles my mind how he'll do like the Goblin slash Gollum Smeagol vocals on choruses
Mm,
now, where that to me is like one of the best vocal things I have heard in years as
mm-hmm.
far as metal. And I've listened to like bands who do like super high falsettos, but the way Travis does those Gollum vocals is just I don't know how anybody could pull that off without sounding terrible unless they practice at it for a long, long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like nobody out there like him. Well, a good chunk of deathcore bands nowadays coming up are trying to do what he does, but just not as good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel like he kind of set the standard for like vocal acrobatics kind of
Yeah,
thing.
which is kind of what I think a lot of like newer deathcore's really going after. It's like vocal acrobatics and slowing down breakdowns to the point where it's like monotonous depending on the band.
Mhm.
But definitely people gotta give credit to Travis for really being a pioneer of something unique.
Yeah, and it was probably something he didn't like intend to do, which I also think is like a cool thing. He was just doing his own thing and just like inspired like a whole um like generation of vocalists, or there's this like snowball effect where maybe some vocalists got inspired by him, and then they inspired, and it just kind of so
Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty amazing what kind of sounds like they are able to make. I don't
Yeah.
I feel like the the genre for me, it's not hitting as heavy for me, but you gotta respect like the craft and the work that goes into it. And I do like some deathcore bands. There was or yeah, there are some bands I like. I got really into like the Lorna Shore wave when they popped with like To the Hellfire. I got really into them. I don't listen to them as much anymore, but it was kind of like
I saw them. I saw them live a couple years ago, open for Gojira Mastodon. They were all right. I mean, the lead play was phenomenal.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, I feel like the underrated part of that band is the fucking guitar parts.
Yeah, like the guitar solos were soaring.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Lorna Shore is pretty much a technical death metal band. It's crazy. Like for some of the guitar stuff that they're doing, all the riffing is pretty crazy.
But speaking of guitarists, because I know you play guitar and pretty damn good at it, if I do say so myself.
Oh, thank you.
Who would be like some of the big guitar inspirations?
Because
I always love talking guitars.
Yeah, for sure. Jason Becker will forever be my number one. It's just crazy. You see over here, I got like a signature guitar, Jason Becker.
Oh, that blue one?
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
it's awesome.
That picture right here, that's like a signed photo of him, which I got on my wall as well. So yeah, he would be my number one, along with Marty Friedman. Like they were doing Cacophony together, and like that basically like made my childhood not suck.
I've been needing to listen to more Cacophony, I'll be honest, because like I've heard snippets of it, and what I heard was I was just like, what?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and it's like late 80s, and they're on the like back end of like the 80s wave, so they got some 80s vibe to it, but some of the stuff that they're playing is still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, always. Anybody else in particular aside from those two?
Well, yeah, it's Temu and Yari from Wintersun has always for a long time been like huge inspirations, and like Justin and Chris from the Zenith Passage lately, Michael Keane from the Faceless. It's like when you ask that question, I'm just forgot every fucking guitarist in the world right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, those are basically the ones that Wes Hawk, of course, Brandon Ellis. Yeah, there's something about like the way that they're technically perfect, but still has that kind of humanity to it that I really like. Of course, they'll play every note perfectly, but they still have something that kind of allows the guitar to sing, you know.
Yeah, allow the guitar to have its own voice, and not just always about the riffs, but like you gotta have some kind of lead in there, whether it be proper solo or even a lead melody to really add more. Absolutely.
Yeah, and also the Fallujah guys, they released a new album which is really fucking good. Like they I think they kind of found like the perfect like sound for themselves, and yeah, it's a Dave Otero mix, so it's gonna sound good, you know.
Yeah, Dave Otero is a freaking production beast for sure.
Yeah, that's the dream to get an album produced or like mixed by him, to be honest.
I could already picture how a Blood Red Throne album could sound like with Dave Otero.
I think he would. I think he would do a really good job. Of course, we got Ronnie doing.
I was going to say,
now.
Ronnie from Mesro, who I think his mix on Imperial Congregation was probably one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's he's really good as well. Yeah, we're using him for live stuff as well when we have the ability to do it. But yeah, he's a great dude and very talented in what he does. So it's a good partnership, I think.
Yeah. I mean, and then like talking more about producers too, that I could imagine any of your bands doing. Like, I would say Celestial Scourge would be a perfect fit for Dave Otero for sure.
Yeah. I've been thinking about it. Like, that could be a really cool thing to do. It's right now it's just a matter of like financials.
Yeah. And then for Deception, being of course a little bit more on the melodeath end of the scale, that could be handled by quite a few guys. Jens Bogren, Jacob Hansen, Dan Swano.
Yeah, we were in contact with Jens about the previous album, but it's, as I mentioned, it was about the financials in the end. There's like the, you know, if you want the heavy hitters, you're gonna pay a heavy price. You know, it's of course it would be worth it, but it's like when we have some guys that can maybe do it for cheaper and give us a product
and
that
do
we're
just as good a job.
Yeah, and then then it's quite simple to like, okay, this time we're doing with this guy again, but yeah, I feel like we with Deception we kind of landed like a pretty cool sound with what Martin has been doing. He does a lot of like symphonic stuff already in his own work, so it's he kind of knows how to mix it pretty well. And yeah, whenever I listen to our latest album, I'm always thinking like, holy shit, this sounds really good.
But can't believe I skipped over this. But typically, whenever we do these this chats with other musicians or even friends of ours who love metal, we always like to know the origins of the metalhead within. Like, for you, when did you first get into, well, music in general, and then how did you find metal, or did metal just find you?
Well, I've recently been thinking about it, and I gotta give props to probably my dad, because we would listen to music in the car all the time, like and like me and him would drive up to like we had a caravan up in the mountains. We would drive up there and just listen to stuff. And my first like musical memory is driving up to that caravan, and we were listening to "Shine On You Crazy Diamond" by Pink Floyd, and I would improvise like lines over like with my voice. I was like probably like 5 years old, 5 or 6 maybe. And then like when I started school, I started making some friends, and one of my friends had like he had a dad that played in a country band. So he was like, he grew up listening to like Deep Purple and AC/DC. So he showed me those stuff, and a little while later, I bought my first CD, which was Deep Purple House of Blue Light, which is like it's a weird one, but I really like that album.
I think wasn't that? I'm trying to remember if that was their second album before in rock.
I can't really remember, but it's like in the middle of the 80s, Deep Purple.
Oh, okay. All right, so that would have been during the reunion of the Mark II line.
I guess so. I think
it's 87. Yeah, I just looked it up for you.
Yeah, so
I never checked that one out actually.
It's I don't think it I don't think it would like hold up to like a lot of the other like Machine Head and Perfect Strangers and stuff like that, but but that was my first like introduction to it. I would like I had a plastic guitar, and I would ask my parents to come watch me play that record. I guess they got sick and tired of it.
Stop making so much damn noise!
Yeah,
You whippersnapper, what are you doing?
Yeah, I got a lot of that when I got my first guitar, because the amp, to get it to sound distorted, I had to play it real loud.
Oh god.
I
bet if you had neighbors, they all loved you.
Yeah, it was pretty bad at the time, but yeah, it was pretty cool. I had a good teacher that showed me, when I got another amp, how to like get the cool sound, because I could never figure out how to get it, because of course we had YouTube and stuff back then, but it was like 2006, 2007.
So, during its infancy.
Yeah, basically. So it was only like Microsoft tutorials and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But going on from there, I started listening to, of course, AC/DC, and I got really into Guns N' Roses. Loved that band. And then it took like a real turn when, of course, I discovered Metallica. And I saw them in Copenhagen in 2009. And yeah, it was like a straight year or two where that was the only thing I was listening to, basically.
Yeah.
Only listening to Metallica and trying to learn the riffs. And then, of course, Megadeth came along. Jason Becker. And then, yeah, started kind of going more into like a melodeathy thing with like Arch Enemy, and we listened a lot to Amon Amarth back in the day, like getting into the death metal thing.
Yeah.
But then we started like thinking, like me and the drummer in Deception, we were like, we gotta try to push this kind of thing. So we were sitting in the basement. I remember it quite vividly, like searching up, like, okay, we heard about this band, and we'd like put into the search bar Cannibal Corpse. And then we were just laughing because it was so extreme. And then like later we got into like Dying Fetus and stuff like that. So that's basically, and after that it just branched out into everything kind of thing.
Yeah. It just keeps snowballing, the never-ending rabbit hole.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't really start with like the old school stuff. The old school stuff has kind of become like something that I've discovered like in later years. Like, of course, it's been some years now, but like from when I was like 20, I started to really enjoy the old school death metal stuff. And but I always like loved the production of like newer stuff, like from 2000 going forwards has always been, for me at least, it's probably like cursing in the church, like saying that, because everybody's like, I miss the 90s, every band had its own sound. Yeah, but it sounds better now, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are obviously some exceptions out there.
Of course.
Obviously. But yeah, like with me, when it came to death metal, I didn't really get into death metal until high school. Like when I was freshman, sophomore year of high school. And funny enough, my early gateways were Cannibal Corpse in Ace Ventura, Metalocalypse because of Death Clock, and then eventually discovering bands like Death and Morbid Angel and Obituary in high school, and never looked back. Just kept growing from there. So I did start off with mostly the originators, but as far as like the other old school bands, I didn't really discover till I kept getting more and more and more into death metal, to the point where, as you can barely see behind me, my little mini store of CDs. Even though people say I have a problem, my buddy Necrotic Nick from Thralls of Metal, he dwarfs my collection by like I don't even have a tenth of what he has. So that should go to show you. But regardless, but like in recent years, I've been discovering more obscure bands that other YouTubers have recommended to me. Bands like Gutted from Toledo with their first album, which is pretty fucking awesome. And then discovering the other obscure bands of other subgenres of death metal, like Death Doom in particular. Because if my other co-host, Ricky, was here, because he and I equally love Death Doom. His taste is more on the side where it's a little more mellow death and a little gothic kind of style of Death Doom. So like Swallow the Sun's like neck and neck with AC/DC for him for favorite band of all time. So he loves all of Death Doom, but that's more his forte, whereas I like the more heavier, grislier, but still melodic, like Hooded Menace would be in the run. Asphyx.
Asphyx is pretty cool.
Autopsy whenever they get really doomy, and then just early Paradise Lost, like the first album where that was kind of like Autopsy worship, and then eventually, you know, discovering like progressive death metal was kind of a game changer. Like Opeth changed my life when I was 19, 20 years old when I first heard them. Edge of Sanity, Gojira, Black Crown Initiate. We could go on and on about bands and just talk about mutual favorites because, I mean, hell, if I could have my way, I would rather do that because it's like, oh my god, have you checked this out? No, I'll check this out. Type it on my keyboard or write it down on paper.
Hell yeah, we should do that that one time then.
Yeah, like maybe for a future. Yeah, like... Yeah, I would certainly hope, because I do know that you guys will be playing MDF next year. So
yeah, are you going?
Unfortunately, that's like 9 hours away, and I don't fly. So unless the only way I could ever see myself going to MDF is if I went up to Toledo and hung out with the Thralls of Metal guys, and they decide to let me join them on that trip and then go over, which could happen in the future. Never say never kind of thing, but like eventually I would love, and I even talked about this with Gunner and Yvonne and even Bolt back then, like if you guys ever do finally come back to the States for an actual tour opening for somebody and come to Cincinnati, I would do everything in my power to be there.
Oh yeah, that's the of course we want to, but it's
tricky.
It's a difficult situation right now. Like we were supposed to play MDF this year, but our visas didn't arrive in time, basically.
But at least you're gonna get to go next year, which is good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, I always hear amazing stories about MDF, whether it be how the band's performed or even what happens out in the crowd. I don't know if you know this story. I don't know if you know this story or not, but I'm just going off of what I learned from Thralls of Metal when they went to MDF in 2022, I think. When Autopsy played, which was, I think, the Saturday of MDF, apparently, I even told this story to Sebastian from Necrophobic when we had him on, because he played the same day with Necrophobic, but during Autopsy set, some extracurriculars were happening out in the crowd where a couple decided to discover the birds and the bees.
Yeah, that's nice. And let them enjoy themselves.
But it was like, but out in the warm weather, like, alright, I know if I were out in that crowd and that's happening, I know my area would be sweaty and nasty as hell. I don't know if that'd be the most appealing thing for a lady to enjoy or me to enjoy from a woman. I don't know, but...
Oh, I don't know.
But who would have thought Autopsy, of all bands, could bring out those feelings in people? And then what I think makes it funnier is apparently the next day, when Hypocrisy played, Peter Tattergan got up onto the mic and he goes, "You guys are a bunch of crazy fuckers. You were in the paper yesterday for what happened. What the fuck, man? Get a room. Fuck no, if you want to fuck." And there's the video of that, and there was one security guy after Peter said that who looked back like this. Like he wanted to laugh so bad, but who knows? You might run into that where maybe during BRT said you might end up. Well, I don't know if you'd see it, but it'd probably be all over Twitter and or not Instagram, but like all over Twitter and social media. Like, oh my god, this random couple decided to get down and dirty in the pit.
Well, I would love to have that happen. To be honest, it's like they have their way of enjoying themselves, and if that's to a death metal show, bumping cheeks, that's fine for me.
Bumping cheeks or bumping crotches, depending on how they roll. But still, it just still boggles my mind how in the hell that happened.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of different...
lot of alcohol consumed, probably.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, hey, honey, you want to sit on my face? Sure, babe. Like, what the... But anyways, I digress on here a lot. but no, bottom line is, it's cool that you guys will be at MDF next year. Hell, I've already seen, like, good chunk of that lineup, and it already looks cool. Like, I think My Dying Bride's playing there, or they might have played this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of like bands that I've seen a lot of times before, but they're doing like special sets, which are
I know
really
Death
cool.
Angel will be there next year doing Act 3 in its entirety.
Yeah.
Which, that sounds killer.
Yeah, and Creator are doing like first 3 albums. It's that's gonna be crazy. I've seen them like 7 or 8 times, I think, but getting that set with like only Pleasure to Kill and Extreme Aggression, and the last one I can't remember, but yeah, Extreme Aggression is probably my favorite from them, so I think it's gonna be really cool.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for me too. Like, I've always been a big Pleasure to Kill guy, and then Coma of Souls just barely behind it, and then Extreme Aggression. It's definitely those 3 I call like the holy trinity of Creator for me. But who would you say was like the one band that you saw that completely changed you as a musician and as a person? Like, oh my god, this was an experience.
That's a good question. Well, maybe I was 18 or 17 at like my first like festival experience. And I got to see Winter Sun, and then like the day off, I had a guitar lesson with Temu from Winter Sun, and that was probably like a musician's experience, like where I got to. Yeah, it was like pretty life-changing. Like seeing the songs live and like seeing the technical proficiency of everything, and it was just a great time. And obviously it's a lot of the other bands that played that year. It was at Carmageddon festival, like 2 hours north from where I live. Got to see like Kalma and Equilibrium I saw there for the first time, and there was this Norwegian black metal band which is called Vredehammer, which played the small stage, but it was the first time I saw Blast Beats live. And that was like, holy shit, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life, because they play like black metal, but has more like that immortal kind of vibe to it.
Almost almost like a death metal inspiration with how tight they play and such.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the black metal I like. It's the more like death metal oriented, yeah. Or
the more just straight up riff oriented.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like I often always say, and like when it comes to black metal, I am super picky because like if you have an album where it just feels like nothing but droning tremolos and blast beats the entire way through Transylvania Hunger, it loses me, because it's like there's no dynamic going on here. It's like there's no like thrash moment, there's no like chug, there's no doom, there's no anything. It's just and
I feel like you're losing kind of a lot of the like
nuance.
Yeah, and a lot of the aggression in it.
Yeah.
Which is probably what I like in music in general, or like at least in metal. I listen to a lot of different stuff, but like in metal, I wanted to. That's sadly why I'm not really into like a lot of like doom and death doom and stuff like that. It's kind of loses me for not being aggressive, you know.
Well, obviously depending on bands, like. One of the big reasons why I love Asphyx so much is because while they do it so well, they're not afraid to throw in some thrash in there to really change it up. Which that's why I guess some people would hesitate to call them straight up death doom, because of that thrash element that shows up. But I would say it's just a perfect 50-50 mix of death metal and doom metal.
Yeah, I really like Asphyx.
And then hell, even Hooded Menace too. Like, yeah, they'll run into like where they just focus too much on the doom, but especially on the last album, man, they brought in like more like classic heavy metal moments, like Merciful Fate, King Diamond, Judas Priest, Metallica moments, where they get a little bit more up tempo, but not like in a thrashy way, but more in like a new wave of British heavy metal way, and mix it in perfectly with their disgusting doomy death metal.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, there was we saw Inter Arma, and that like they were very very like slow paced, but there was something about it, man, that was like this is pretty raw, and pretty cool. But no, it's not the genre I keep the most track of, so my knowledge of it is not too great.
Yeah.
But like the aggression part of the music is probably the like number one attribute that a band has to have, kind of, for me to like get really into it.
Yeah, and then like circling back to the black metal thing, like I always use Transylvania Hunger as an example of where it's the kind of black metal I don't like, where it's just nothing but tremolo and blast the entire album and nothing more than that. Which is strange, because you consider just a year later they put out Panzerfaust, where it's like they'll have a couple songs in that, but they did it better, and bring in thrash, bringing in doom, bringing in like that Celtic Frost worship in there, and that's one of my favorite Dark Throne albums, simply because it's like a drunken Celtic Frost worship album, and I love Celtic Frost worship bands. Like, arguably Asphyx could be considered Celtic Frost worship to an extent. But yeah, and like other black metal bands that I think do the riffy black metal and aggressive black metal very well, Shooter. Is probably one of my favorites.
You know, Emil, he used to play in Blood Red Throne. He plays drum there now, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, taking over for John Rice. Which good addition.
Insane.
I remember insane. Emil's drumming on. I think he was on Brutalitarian Regime, and I know he was on the Self-Titled, and both of those albums. Like, jeez.
Yes, some of my favorites actually from Blood Red Throne. Actually, I feel like there's so many good albums before I joined as well, so it's pretty difficult to choose. You know,
I mean, I always say with BRT, one of the most consistent bands in all of death metal. Like, you could pick like any album and be like, oh yeah, this is a great start to get into them, like from the beginning to now. Like. And I always often say, like, with Blood Red Throne in general, like, in terms of most underrated death metal bands, they're definitely up there for sure. Like, Broken Hope would be in the conversation. course, Blood Red Throne. There's a multitude of death metal bands I always personally feel should get more love or should have gotten bigger. Like, Broken Hope were fairly big for a little bit in the late 90s. I mean, hell, they got to do a tour in the States headlining over Vader and Monstrosity.
That's crazy.
Which I remember when we had Jeremy Wagner, the guitarist, the only original member left on the show a few years ago. We talked about that, and he always felt comfortable just being the opening act, or at least close to headline, but not quite headline, because that was their only headline tour they've ever done. It was in 97, back when Loathing came out. But with, like, Blood Red Throne, like, I could always have seen you guys being, like, major headline worthy, considering the band itself's been around since 98. And I know it's like Norway, not particularly known for having the biggest death metal scene because, well, you got a lot of black metal up there, so it kind of suffocates it a little bit. But like the death metal bands coming from there, like BRT, Obliteration, of course Deception, Celestial Scourge, and quite a few others I'm probably forgetting about, but very, very top-notch bands. But I would say Blood Red Throne are probably the most well-known, at least in terms of underground metalheads that listen to bands that perhaps don't get as much love. It's like Blood Red Throne's like the one that sticks out, like, oh yeah, they're from Norway, but they're a death metal band. And started by Short, who was on probably, arguably, the greatest Norwegian black metal album of all time, Emperors in the Nightside Eclipse. Which, of course, on the show in the past, like when we've had like people from both Norway and Sweden, we often kind of bring up the whole seemingly bitter rivalry in the 90s between Norwegian black metal and Swedish death metal, or just death metal in general, but we won't go too far into it. But point of it was, it's like, yeah, the black metal guys in Norway, most of them still had a niche for death metal, and Short being one, hence why this band was created.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's probably a lot of different reasons why things have gone as it have, but you know, there's no reason to be bitter or like, you know, as a fan of the band, like I've been a fan of Blood Red Throne for years, and I completely agree that I think that it should have got a lot more recognition for some of the albums that they've put out, like before my time as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely looking back, like mid to late 2000s, they definitely got a little bit because they went to Earache Records, even though Earache's past is not the best, but hey, the name value alone kind of helped. And then got the little push with Imperial Congregation on Nuclear Blast, and then the management change happened. From what Gunnar told me whenever I was asking him, like, wonder what happened with the Nuclear Blast deal. I figured they was going to really push everything. He said, well, there was a management change, and they ended up cutting a lot of bands, which hence why you now have that old management running Reigning Phoenix Music now, which has grown.
Yeah, you also got like some people from there that started Atomic Fire.
Yep. Yeah, and now if it's kind of confusing, but it's like now Atomic Fire is now pretty much merged with Reigning Phoenix Music, same with Fire Flash Records. So it's like all one big giant umbrella, and of course they've got some huge bands over there right now, like Deicide, Halloween. I think Opeth is over there now, Meshuggah is over there now. So it's like a baby label's only been up since like 2022, 2023, but they're starting to get some pretty big bands that were either formerly on Nuclear Blast or elsewhere coming over. So maybe in the future they might look at Blood Red Throne, and maybe it's the same guy who signed them on Nuclear Blast that now runs Reigning Phoenix Music, and be like, I really like this band. They did great stuff on Imperial Congregation. We ought to give them more budget, more money to like give them more chances to do more tours at places that they either love to go to but couldn't, or places they've never been. Which I know that seemingly has been happening recently. Like you guys playing in South Korea recently, which that had to have been an experience.
That was the best day of my life. Like getting there, we had partied in Mongolia the day before until like 1 hour before we were heading to the airport. And yeah, 3 of us got upgraded to business class on that flight.
Oh man.
So it was me, Ivan, and Daniel who got upgraded, and Chris, he got like middle seat in between between some people, and yeah, we were so tired. But so me, Daniel, and Ivan, we were greeted with like champagne and stuff like that, and he was like back there in the with the like the zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But it's funny. But that's
then we
funny
got-
because, I'm sorry. I was going to mention something funny, like a little tour tip I learned from Cannibal Corpse on Global Evisceration, that documentary, where if you get lucky, you're on a plane and you get the whole row to yourself. That's called the rocket row.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it has happened a couple of times, but
Well, there you go.
but yeah, when we got to South Korea, the other guys, of course, we were pretty tired because of the late night shenanigans going on the day before. But we got there, and the other guys were like, "We need to sleep." But I really like Eastern Asian culture and food and stuff like that. So I decided not to go sleep. So I joined the promoter to the venue, and he took me out for something to eat. And I was just staying at the venue all day, talking to people outside. And yeah, it was fantastic. And then after the show, we were talking, and then we went to like a Korean barbecue, and it was amazing.
I think the only Korean food I've ever eaten is Korean barbecue. I always wonder because I eat. It feels like I eat Chinese food at least once a week, but I always get the lo mein all the time at a local place. But yeah, I've always been curious to try like proper Korean.
Yeah, it's pretty good. You got a lot of like different spices. It's not like as spice heavy as like Chinese. I would argue though that Chinese is like, for me, it's like the best like cuisine in the world, because right before we went to Korea, we went to China to play some shows there. And like every meal was the best thing I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
So when I got home, I made a friend over there, and yeah, she was sending me like recipes so that I could make it at home, and yeah, been having fun with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always fun to discover new foods. Like even I'm the same way whenever I cook here at the house. I always like to try doing stuff. Like recently I've been like borderline obsessed with one to do like pasta sauces, like cacio e pepe and alburo, or as here in the States we call it Alfredo sauce.
Yeah.
It's tricky though. It is tricky because you don't use cream. You gotta do the technique where you gotta blend the pasta water and cheese. And I struggle bad with that. It is such a pain. Like literally, I think it was Wednesday. It was either Wednesday or Thursday, I forget. I was trying to make cacio e pepe sauce from scratch with the Parmesan cheese and using the pasta water. But I kept watching tips, and it's like it's all about temperature, like getting the right temperature of the water so it doesn't clump up into a clumpy mess. I thought I had it at the right temperature, and it's still clumped. I'm like, come on, work with me here. It's frustrating, but it can be rewarding at the same time. But anyways, enough about food because I'm about to get hungry, and I don't want to eat my microphone. But going back to Deception, like, how did you end up getting involved with those guys?
Oh, I started that band when I was 14 or 15.
Wow.
Me and our drummer, we didn't know each other at the time, but we had like a common guy who like wanted to start a band, and like in the beginning, it was we were playing. Like it was basically metalcore, like for a couple of months. I had never been in a band before, so I was like, okay, I guess I'll go along with that. But so we started out like learning covers. We did like Before I Forget by Slipknot, and then we did like I can't remember the name of the song, but we did like an Avenged Sevenfold song just to try to see if the stuff was there. And then we wrote like 3 songs, and then the guy that put us together and our bassist, they quit, so we brought in Marius and another guy called Tool Marius. And then we started like, what do we want to do? Yeah, we want to write like melodic death metal because we were really into like Arch Enemy at the time. Arch Enemy and Amon Amarth and like Heartwork by Carcass.
Oh yes.
And trying to do like that kind of stuff. Yeah, basically, and then we just evolved. We got better at songwriting, so for each like EP album it got better. And then Marius quit, and then we decided to like do a small name change, to like to like signalize that okay, there's going to be a huge change here, kind of thing, where I took over the vocals. And yeah, we released an EP and then 2 albums, and yeah, now we're here. It's like it's been constantly like evolving, like adding elements. Like we started doing like symphonic stuff on not this record but the one before, and I also did some for the previous bands. I did like some intros and stuff like that using like orchestral parts.
Yeah, because I remember, from what I remember of the last album that came out last year, like, I think I remembered saying in my video about it that it was almost like as if there were moments where there was still a little bit of, like, that old school death metal charm at times within, like, I kept saying Blood Red Throne quite a bit, because it almost sounded like if Blood Red Throne was somehow more melodic than they already are. And then, of course, like, I would argue little hints of, like, Omnium Gatherum and even a little bit of, like, later era Death when they were getting more melodic. Like, little touches of that, which that's the kind of mellow death I like, where it's either... I mean, there's 2 different kinds of mellow death I enjoyed. The one where it sounds more somber, but yet heavier on the guitars. So, like, Insomnium would be a pretty good example of that. Or the bands that have a little more of a death metal lenient sound, so like Amon Amarth and Black Dahlia and Carcass, so that kind of mellow death. Or, hell, there's a band that, I mean, I have an album of theirs, but I've yet to really dive into it, and also I need to listen to their other stuff. Are you familiar with Intestine Ballism?
No, I haven't heard.
Oh, so they're a Japanese mellow death band, but almost like brutal mellow death. Like, there's like moments... Like, from what I've been told and from what I have heard, it's almost like you take bands like Edge of Sanity, Dismember, and Hypocrisy and kind of blend in moments of Suffocation and Deicide in there, because there's some, like, brutal, like, chugs and breakdowns in there, but somehow bringing out the melodic hooks of a Carcass, of an At the Gates, of Dismember, Edge of Sanity, Hypocrisy, and so on. Like, the first album, I think from what I remember, it's called An Anatomy of the Beast. That one, from what I hear out of the 3 albums they did, is the most brutal, but yet still have a lot of melody in it.
Yeah.
Whereas I have the second album, Banquet in the Darkness, where they got a little more melodic, and from what I heard, it's really, really killer.
Yeah, it's cool. I'll check it out.
Yeah.
For me, it's like important to keep that part, because that's the kind of stuff I really enjoy. Like, I enjoy a lot of riffs, and Blood Red Throne has been a huge inspiration for all these years for that band. So getting like the groovy drums with some killer riffs on top, but then like adding like symphonic elements to that, like combining like the Deicide Cannibal Corpse with the like kind of technical death metal, like a little bit on Necrophagists, alongside with like bombastic like Winter Sun synths and Septic Flesh and Flesh God, and like doing like putting everything together
into a melting pot.
Yeah, basically. So there's probably always going to be that element. We're doing we're doing a little new thing on the newest one, where we're doing like getting a 7-string and tuning it real low for like effect stuff. So it's the next Deception album is probably going to be a little bit slower, but I think it's gonna be cool. Using a little bit more synths and getting a little bit more like a digital sound out of it, because it's kind of like a concept I like to think about. Like we're only doing like concept albums with that band, so I like to like get the concept together first, and then like see where does this go.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great approach to have, absolutely, and definitely whenever that comes out, I will definitely be checking that stuff out for sure.
Hell yeah, it's probably it's really in the early stages right now, and there's a lot to be done. But I think the direction it's going is pretty good. Of course, we're still having the same. It's gonna sound like us, but it's gonna be a little bit like adjusted, kind of thing.
Yeah. Now with Celestial Scourge, on the other hand, so how did that come
to? Yeah, that was Stian got bored.
I figured this was all his brainchild at first.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, so he was bored during the pandemic. It was actually supposed to be like only a studio project. So it was him. He wrote some really bad guitar profiles, and then he got Sanjay from Wormhole and in Fairy to play guitars on it, and Chris to play drums, Eirik to sing on it, and then me and Hansi, we were like, if you ever want to take this live, we'll join you.
Yeah.
And then right before the EP came out, we joined the band and we started doing shows and started writing the album, basically. Which I'm really happy how it turned out. And he's gotten better at Guitar Pro, but it's still not perfect.
Yeah. I mean, after all, the guy's younger than us, which I couldn't fathom that. like I remember when we had him the first time on the podcast. This was, I can't remember if he had formed Celestial Scourge before or after we had him on the show. This would have been like around the fall of 2021 when we first talked to him.
That's probably around the time, I think.
Yeah, that was probably around the time, and I remember, like, he was just, like, a ball of energy. Like, you could definitely tell, like, with his bass playing, like, he reminds me a lot of, like, Erland, the original bassist of Blood Red Throne, and even Alex Webster and Steve DiGiorgio, like, all the big dogs. Mm-hmm. And yet he's so young at doing it at the time. Like, he was, 21 at the time when he appeared on Imperial Congregation. So it's like, the super young kid all of a sudden just comes out of nowhere and is just playing bass up there amongst the best of anybody in extreme metal. So I can definitely tell, like, he had probably some ideas he probably wanted to do on Blood Red Throne that might have been a little bit too technical for them. So, yeah, I could see Celestial Scourge being a proper outlet for him going absolutely batshit insane.
Yeah, it got more like collaborative with the album. It's like a 50-50, like him and me on that album, like writing the songs. Like like making the song ideas and stuff like that. But then we like had a weekend where we trimmed all the fat, like just sitting here drinking beers, like doing the demos, like finishing up, like writing some of the smaller sections, maybe some breakdowns. Yeah, just having good time, and that I feel is like the number one like priority in this band, is to like make stupid shit. It's like you got like stupid in the form of like being it way too technical, but then you also got the stupid like caveman riffs. Like, is this stupid enough? Nah, not really. Do
no,
less.
we need to make it. We need to make it dumber.
Yeah, basically. So it's like the combination of those that I really like about it, and the like the combination of people is really good. It's always fun and never a dull moment, kind of thing. Yeah. And the same goes for Blood Throne as well. It's always fun.
Yeah. But actually, I brought up earlier how I got like the big collection back here and such. So curious, you a CD guy, a vinyl guy, cassette guy, digital? Where are you at when it comes to music listening?
Now these days it's mostly Spotify, but I have a lot of CDs. I have a lot of vinyls. It's all underneath the desk here, like the vinyls and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't have the biggest apartment, so I don't really have a good way of listening to them. So
right.
So I stick to the Spotify thing, and if I really like the album, I'll buy it on vinyl just to have a physical copy of it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way too. Like, especially with like new releases, I'll listen to it first on YouTube, and then if I really get into it and I come across it when it tickles my fancy, I'll buy it for sure. Like currently, I'm up to actually I'm on my Discogs page right now, so I could give you the exact number. Yeah. 1,627 albums.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, but it ain't Necrotic Nick a lot. He has like about 11,000.
Jesus Christ!
But then again, the guy could be old enough to have been like a premature father at 16.
Yeah,
because I kind of call him my new metal uncle, because he shows me a bunch of bands. Like anytime, whenever me and my parents or family go up to Toledo, where they're at to stay at like a resort, I always make an effort to visit Nick and the other guys from Thralls and hang out with them for as long as possible. And Nick, he'll turn me on to stuff like, first time I met him in person, which was 2 years ago, he turned me on to bands like Gorephilia and bands like that, which, yeah, Gorephilia, that's some pretty cool stuff too. That's like a Finnish death metal band that sounds a hell of a lot like Morbid Angel.
Ah, cool.
But then again, Morbid Angel worship has kind of become one of my new favorite fads in death metal, just because you'll always come across bands that have like those evil Morbid Angel tremolos and Pete Sandoval-esque blast beats. That's just become one of my favorite styles. So yeah, Blood Incantation, Necrot, Malignant Altar, Gorephilia, and Mithras. So many bands.
Yeah.
But wow, my voice almost died. But yeah, that's basically me. Like, yeah, listen to it on YouTube first, and if I really get into it, make an effort to buy it, whether it be ordering online or if I'm out and about at a record stop. A record stop. That's new. Record shop. English, motherfucker. Do you speak it? But record shop, and see if they have it at a reasonable price. I mean, a lot of times I usually just go insane with spending at record stores. Like, hell, during my last, it was my very last trip I made up there to Toledo. Or no, it was last summer for my birthday. That trip when I went up to Toledo, because Toledo, there are 3 really good shops up there. There's a place called Allied Record Exchange, where they have 2 locations, and then they have Better Noise Music. I went up there to those places, well, except for Better Noise, but me and the folks, we took a ride over to Sandusky, Ohio, which was like an hour east. Hell, we were along the lake. You could see Cedar Point theme park from across the lake, close to Cleveland, and it was like a really pretty sight. But there was this place. I can't believe I forgot the name of it, but it was like an all old entertainment store where you could buy movies, you could buy action figures, you could buy CDs, and they had a lot of albums. So I think altogether I bought like 40 CDs on that trip. So I think that overall probably cost me about $600. I tell you, whenever I go on big trips like that, I always make an effort to get as much as I possibly can get.
Yeah,
because I just love collecting it, because I always feel like no matter Spotify or whatever out there that people mostly listen to stuff, it ain't gonna kill off physical media. As long as you got the people, as long as you got the people who still have a passion for buying the stuff in person, like me, or even ordering online, it's always gonna exist.
Yeah, I haven't bought a lot like in recent years. It's mostly been like the few things that I feel like I need to have, kind of thing. Of course I would love to buy more, but it's not always in the budget.
You gotta keep the priorities for sure.
Yeah,
but like but also with me, when it comes to like how I listen to them, because obviously I can't always just go up and grab a CD and put it into the player, because you'll end up wearing it out. I do the old school way, at least from back when I was first using computers, when I was like preteen, or even my teenage years, whether it was a laptop or a shitty desktop, not like the one I have now. This one, I mean, see right there, it's a pretty gnarly beast. There, stupid camera. Technology, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. But I actually, before I get to it, I actually did a rather genius thing. It was so genius, I felt dumb for not thinking about it sooner. Because last month was kind of a rough month for me, because my previous computer decided to just start running slow, and I'm like, how am I going to get anything done or do what I want to do? So I had to spend almost all of my money that I had at the time on getting parts to build a new one. Luckily, it's an amazing beefy computer, so I can do a lot on it. Hell, I can render an 8.5 minute review in like 55 seconds.
Oh, that's crazy.
That is insane. Like, beforehand, it was like 2.5, 3 minutes, which still is pretty damn good. But now it's lightning fast. But what I did, because I have actually a little TV right here in front of me, wide. See, it's like the white light because I got WordPad up for it. Underneath of it is my very first computer I ever bought, which was in 2014, and it was just a pre-built HP desktop. It had a CD and DVD player in it, so I could watch movies and put on music. But I decided, because this computer tower had a front panel where you could install a drive like that, I was initially going to buy one for $100, but then I thought, can't believe I didn't think about this. I took apart the old computer, the very first one, took the drive out, and just put it into this.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't believe I didn't think about that sooner. I feel stupid, but yet I feel like a genius. But getting to the point, I do the old school way, where you get the CD, put it into the drive, and just rip it onto your computer, so that way you could have it on your phone and go take it on the go, so that way you don't have to like carry a freaking giant cargo crate everywhere you go, where it feels like, oh, am I gonna be able to drag all this out to listen to something? So that's the wonderful thing about with CDs, in my opinion. It's like the best of both worlds. Like, you could still use it for your phone or computer or what have you, but you could also have something physical you can reference.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, granted, there are ways of technology to do that with vinyl, but I feel like that's probably less convenient for some people, because it's like you have to go through so many hoops to try and do the same thing you can do with a CD with a vinyl, which is why I only have right now 2 vinyls, Master Puppets and Justice for All.
Well, those are the only 2 you need.
Well, I do eventually plan on getting like Kill 'Em All, Ride to Lightning, and the Black Album on vinyl, because I always said I'd love to get the first 5 Metallica albums on vinyl just to have.
Mhm.
But I haven't thought about doing that for a while, but beside the point.
Yeah.
Funny, funny little thing that I ask every once in a while, because with me, one of my other biggest passions outside of music is professional wrestling.
Yeah.
So, curious, are
Mhm.
you a pro wrestling guy yourself?
I was back in the
Oh,
day.
well,
I watched it a lot, like, and we had like, um, in primary school, we like ended up doing like trampoline wrestling a lot
I did that a lot as a kid too.
every day after school, and it got
Yep.
pretty gnarly after a while. Like
It did get crazy for me too. Well, maybe not like CZW crazy, which could.
no, we were doing like we were getting like sweet chin music all the time.
God, get the super kicks in.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, Shawn Michaels is probably my favorite from
Yep.
what I can remember. I have gotten some stuff up on like TikTok in later years, and I love that CM Punk's back. Always liked him. Triple H, I feel like had a huge fall off, like when he took over.
Well, when he took over creative, it's like, well, recently it's been kind of imbalanced, but he's trying to get everything sorted out. Whereas, like last year in 2023, he was killing it in terms of
Yeah.
booking. Which I am glad that he got to take over creative, because, I mean, this gets into the whole bigger philosophical thing, and that's with Vince McMahon. It's like, for a long time he was a genius, and then towards the end, it was very spotty with him.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows where everything would have went if he was still there.
Yeah.
Now, with Triple H there, it's like, because he's kind of trying to do exactly like what he did in NXT 10 years ago, but on a bigger scale, which in some ways it works, some ways it's not quite worked, but like he's still in the early stages of trying to do this full time on a bigger scale. Whereas now with Shawn Michaels doing NXT, which I think he's done a great job with NXT now. Granted, he likes to reference a lot of things of his past in some of the matches and stories they're doing right now. Like, like I don't know if you remembered a clip of, I think it was Cyber Sunday 2006, which was actually just 2 hours away from me. I just didn't know it was happening. It was whenever he was ranting about how, what, people don't think I know controversy? Wait, you. What's your name? Stan. Stan! Boom! See? I just kicked Stan! Like, they actually did a recreation of that with a couple of the women in NXT last year, which it's like, oh, Sean. But like, but yeah, like some of my favorites, my number one's always been Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah, he's a badass.
Yeah, he was always my guy, and also proper metalhead in his own right, too.
Hell yeah.
No pun intended.
Of course, Undertaker and Jeff Hardy has a special place in my heart. Sad that Jeff was like a heavy addict.
Well, thankfully he's, apart from some alcohol issues a few years ago, it seems like he's finally sorted himself out. I mean, as far as hard drugs, he's completely off of it. It's just ended up going down alcohol a little bit, and cost him his license for about a year or maybe longer. But at least he's trying to turn his life around, which is great.
Yeah. Some of his matches are absolutely crazy.
Yeah, like like that Swanton he did to Randy Orton off of the second level of the Raw set in 2008.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, that's so gnarly.
And it still kind of makes me laugh how, and also kind of looking back on it, this should have happened. Like, we all remember TLC 2 from WrestleMania 17 with Hardy's Dudley's Edge of Christian, how much of a classic that was. Mm-hmm. Imagine, though, if they had done a Hell in a Cell match instead. That could have been even better, because they could have torn the door off and just fight all over outside the cage and on top of the cage. And Jeff Hardy always said he wanted to do the Swanton off Hell in a Cell because, in his own words, looks like fun. Well, I mean, he's jumped off of 16. He's jumped off of 14-foot ladders doing the Swanton. So I think at that point, the 15-foot high Hell in a Cell wouldn't have been too much of a reach.
Yeah.
Because that original Hell in a Cell, was much shorter than the Hell in a Cell we've had for now 19 years, the much bigger one, which, he definitely, Shane McMahon at 43 years old jumped off of the top of that new Hell in a Cell against Undertaker like an insane bastard. So maybe Jeff Hardy still, I don't think Jeff would have done it at that point in his life because he got knocked out even just falling off the top of a 10-foot cage on the stairs. Knocked him out. So I don't think he would have gone that far at that point. But hey, only one person has ever had the balls to jump off of the new Hell in a Cell, and that's Shane McMahon, who just loves falling off of stuff for whatever reason.
Yeah, they're doing crazy work. I think it's I remember back in the day they were getting like a lot of flack for it's not real. Yeah, but what they're doing is still fucking crazy.
You still have to have the athletic capabilities, and also it still hurts no matter what they do. No matter what they do, it always hurts. It's just, But like, at least right now with pro wrestling, the level of athleticism is at its all-time best.
Yeah, I saw Logan Paul.
Yeah,
he did some stuff.
He's super talented. He is super talented in the ring. It's like, say what you will about him as a human being. I think recent years he's been better, but back like 7 years ago, if you asked me about Logan Paul, I'd be like, "Who's Logan Paul?"
Yeah,
but
fuck him back in the day. But
nowadays he's not the worst person in the world, and also super good. He's so good at wrestling, and he's about to be at SummerSlam this weekend. Well, if things work out, because a match that's supposed to happen this weekend is a tag team match of Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul versus Randy Orton and country rapper Jelly Roll. But because Drew McIntyre's passport got stolen in London the other night, he may not be able to make it unless something gets worked out. So that match could end up not happening now.
Ah, shit.
Which would be such a shame, because that could have been something really entertaining, because Jelly Roll, and this might be something for you to check out too, like in the past few years, any celebrity that shows up to do matches, they've been putting in the work to take the bumps and do the moves. They're not bullshitting anybody like it was back in the day with, like, say, Jay Leno and WCW doing a hammerlock on Hulk Hogan, and Hogan sounded like, "Oh my God, help me!" It's like, or that would be the only thing he'd do, or like a weak punch and it knocks the wrestler out, which is so stupid. But like in recent years, like any celebrity that gets involved with at least WWE put in the effort to take the bumps, do some moves, and have as good a match as possible. Rapper Bad Bunny, I didn't know who the hell he was before he showed up 4 years ago at WrestleMania, and he goes out there and it's like, where did he learn how to wrestle? Like, he's really good. And then Logan Paul, which I figured Logan would be good because of his athletic background, but like Johnny Knoxville from Jackass, which that's kind of a no-brainer for him. He's made a career out of doing crazy stunts, flying 30 feet in the air to the
He's used to the bumps.
He's used to it, so it was really perfect matchup for him. And now with Jelly Roll actually doing a pretty good chokeslam to guys. So it's like I'm happy celebrities nowadays take it more serious and put in the effort. And then of course, like, you got AEW, the other big company right now, which I won't go too deep into how I feel about them, but they've gotten better. It's just the only thing I wish they would do is stop worrying about what everybody else is doing and just worry about themselves.
Yeah.
And also, stop doing so much CZW wannabe hardcore stuff where you have to... I doubt you saw this, but probably the most brutal thing I have probably seen ever in pro wrestling was earlier this year, back in March, on an episode of AEW Dynamite. There was a match between Edge and Dean Ambrose from WWE, or now Jon Moxley, where Edge has a weapon called Spike, which was like a little 2x4 with real nails on the end of it.
Shit.
Yeah. Edge gives him a suplex onto the nails, and they literally were stuck in Moxley's back. And
Christ.
They were in his back for a good 60 seconds. And what's worse, when they tried to pull it out, like you could see it was pulling the skin on his back, like, Argh! Thankfully, they got it out of him and nothing came off, so at least there's that. But that's where you gotta realize with wrestling, there's a certain level of stupidity you do not cross. That is the line, is doing stuff like that. I mean, granted, they did a similar thing just recently at their biggest pay-per-view, All In, back in Texas 2 weeks ago, where they had a whole board that had nails. But luckily, they were gimmicked nails. Like, they weren't, like... Which they just barely bumped on. Like, they did a DDT where he just scraped the edge of them, and all it did was just scratch him. Or, like, Moxley landing on his back on, but they didn't impale him or even make him bleed. So, sounds like they've learned their lesson a little bit, but still... Boards with nails, that's probably... That and meat hooks. Those are the things I hate when it comes to hardcore stuff in wrestling. Like, broken glass, I can tolerate to a degree. Thumbtacks, I'm pretty much desensitized when it comes to thumbtacks and barbed wire, because I've seen crazy stuff with those things.
What was his name? The guy with the flannel back in the day?
Oh, Mick Foley.
Yeah. Oh, my lord. He loved that stuff.
Yeah, he really, really did.
But I haven't really been watching it since I was a kid, basically. But I remember we had a good time with it.
Well, that's always good, and also also with pro wrestling too, like, kind of goes hand in hand here and there with heavy metal. I mean, hell, part of the reason I got into metal when I was a kid was not only through classic rock radio and my brother showing me Metallica and Pantera and Alice in Chains, but like pro wrestling, because they would have metal songs for theme songs for pay-per-views that I got into. So
yeah, a lot of those songs are actually pretty heavy. Like, of course you got the Motorhead. Is it All That Remains that has one?
I don't think they ever did a song for them. I think you might be thinking of Killswitch Engage.
Yes.
When they did CM Punk's theme, which, fun fact about that was supposed to have been Randy Orton's song. And he use it. He used it for one episode of SmackDown in 2006. I think it was the SmackDown after WrestleMania 22. He used it that one night, and then he got suspended for 60 days for unprofessional conduct. So he was off TV until June. And then when CM Punk came in, they gave it to him. And he ran with it until 2011. So there is that. Hell, there was that one album. Actually, they did a couple of them where they had like rock and metal bands and even hip-hop artists doing songs. Like, I got one of them, WWF Forcible Entry, where you had like Drowning Pool, Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, Creed, Kid Rock, Neurotica, which was actually a band Kelly Schaefer from Atheist had.
All right.
That was signed to SmackDown Records, and they did a song. The song itself's not that great. It's just kind of like middle of the road, post-grunge, which still blows my mind. Kelly Schaefer almost became the vocalist for Velvet Revolver back in the day.
Oh, really?
Because he was really heavy into like the alternative rock, hard rock stuff of the late 90s, early 2000s during the hiatus for Atheist. But yeah, I have that CD. I actually bought that a year ago at a flea market for like $5 because I used to have it when I was a kid. And then the other one, which I think was better, they did in 2006 called Reckless Intent, where you got even heavier, even better bands like Killswitch Engage, Shadows Fall doing Rob Van Dam's song. Trying to remember, there was another pretty heavy one on there. Oh, Motorhead doing Triple H's King of Kings song.
Yeah.
But yeah, they managed to get some bigger heavy hitters on that. Hell, Avenged Sevenfold was supposed to have been on that album. Funny, and I finally learned this recently. their cover of Pantera's Walk was supposed to have been on WWE Reckless Intent, and I think it was supposed to have been used for Mr. Kennedy, I think, back in the day.
All right.
But they scrapped it, and so Avenged Sevenfold just put it on a compilation for Warner Brothers that year. So at least it's out there, but I recently learned it was supposed to have been on a WWE album, which is nuts.
Cool.
But yeah, like pro wrestling, heavy metal pretty much go hand in hand. I would say primarily because of two things. The 80s with the rock and wrestling connection with Hulk Hogan, Cyndi Lauper, and MTV. But the other, ECW.
Yeah, for sure.
Because like everybody used metal songs or hip hop songs for their theme. Like I think the heaviest one I remember was Jerry Lynn coming out to Scapegoat by Fear Factor.
Yeah,
Back in the day, and it's like,
cool.
Yes. but yeah, it's cool that you were into it for a little bit. So there is that. I mean, I would say like right now is a pretty solid time to get back into it, because I will say, despite the ups and downs they're going through recently, and I think that's primarily down to what happened with The Rock earlier this year, when he kind of underhandedly screwed over some build of WrestleMania by not being there. But aside from that, yeah, there are some things obviously that need fixing, but for the most part, it's still gotten pretty good. So it's in a good place right now, even if to go to a WWE show, just to even get a nosebleed seat at a pay-per-view, it's going to cost you like $200.
Oh, shit.
Which was what happened with me. I went to the Royal Rumble earlier this year in Indianapolis, and I was up in the nosebleeds, and it was a $200 ticket. But it was totally worth it, because I got to witness a Royal Rumble match, 2 of them, and a ladder match in person for the first time ever in my life.
Yeah, that's cool. I would love to go to one of the shows one time. I also used to like play the PlayStation game a lot.
Oh yeah,
I had a lot of fun doing that. But I would love to go to a match if the opportunity arrives.
Or hell, even just go to like an independent show.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I know Sweden has a pretty solid independent wrestling scene going right now.
There has been some stuff going on in Norway with it as well, but it's I don't
it's just
know.
all about discovering it.
Yeah, basically.
But actually, just for fun, I've done this a few times with some guests. So, of course, one of my favorite websites to go on to for anything metal, even if there are some inconsistencies with it, is the Metal Archives.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I was at the website earlier today, just looking some stuff up.
Yeah, looking up some stuff. Like, I pretty much use it every day for the most part. I'll go on there just out of blue and just go to a band and be like, oh yeah, I'm missing that album. Or probably my favorite thing about the Metal Archives is going to a band and go to similar artists, and it recommends you a list of bands that sound similar or are closely related that you might dig. So what I always like doing is asking sometimes guests, like, who do you think, at least on the Blood Red Throne page, who do you think would be the top 5 bands that are on the similar artists for Blood Red Throne that would be like, oh yeah, this is kind of similar, or you might dig this, and so on?
That's a very good question. I think like Deicide and Cannibal Corpse would be there.
Yep, we're both up there.
Death, maybe?
Shockingly, no.
No?
Yeah, which I would argue, like, there's, especially on, like, the older albums, like Souls of Damnation, there are some later era Death type harmonies going on, I would say.
Yeah, it's Daniel's favorite band, so it.
Yeah, I mean, he even has the tattoo right there.
Yeah. Too. Other than that, what could it be? I got no idea, no clue. Those 3 are probably the ones that kind of pop into my mind.
So actually, I'll go through the whole top 20 just for the hell of it. So at number 1, Cannibal Corpse, which I'd say that's pretty obvious. 2, Vomitory.
All right.
Which I could definitely see that, especially on like the chuggier and like even borderline thrashy moments. It's pretty close. Bloodbath number 3.
Yeah,
I could see that.
I can see that.
Yeah,
for some of the stuff, I guess with Bloodbath,
mainly the stuff from like Fathomless Mastery to right now, probably. Maybe not so much the first 2 albums. Deicide number 4. Number 5, Aborted.
Yeah, that's cool.
To a degree.
They've been doing it for a long time as well.
95, which is insane.
Yeah. I recently saw a podcast with Sven. It was really cool to hear like how like the story of the band evolved and stuff. It was at the Garza podcast.
Yeah, Chris Garza from Suicide Silence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's such a fun podcast to watch here and there.
Yeah, I've been getting more into it lately. After we met them in Indonesia last year and had a little chat with Garza, and after that I started listening a lot or watching some of his podcast stuff. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, and then number 6, Aeon.
Yeah, for sure.
I can see that.
Very much see that.
Number 7, Severe Torture.
I
can definitely see that, even though I would say arguably they're just a notch more, at least in their old albums, a little bit more on the brutal death side. But
for sure.
I would say more modern Severe Torture definitely kind of could be comparable. Number 8, Decapitated.
Yeah, with the groovy stuff. Yeah,
with the chugs and the groove. Maybe not so much the technical side, but kind of almost there.
For
sure. Number 9, Vader.
Yeah,
I would say in terms of like the faster stuff. Number 10, Kronos from France.
Yeah, I haven't really listened to them. I've heard of them, but
I've heard of them, but yeah, I've not checked them either. Number 11, Dying Fetus.
Yeah.
Number 12, Cannabis Corpse.
Yeah, that is actually one that I've been meaning to listen a lot more to, because I know Stian really likes them.
Where am I? Number 13, Vile. I would say mainly early Vile before they went more mellow death. Number 14, number 14, Broken Hope. I definitely see that. 15, Vital Remains.
Yeah.
Probably like, I would say more like early Vital Remains, like Let Us Pray, where there was not as much blasting or like crazy technical play, but more like straight up thrashy chugs and such. 16, Deeds of Flesh.
I've never heard.
I've listened to stuff from them. They're like one of the big technical brutal death metal bands here stateside. Okay. That's also the band Mike Hamilton, the drummer, is in, also with Exhumed. He's a killer drummer. 17, Prostitute Disfigurement. Maybe, if not for the drum machine.
There is a drum machine on Alter Genesis.
Yeah, but it doesn't totally sound like one. It just sounds like it was properly programmed. Whereas with Prostitute Disfigurement, you could definitely tell. 18, Panzerchrist.
Yeah, I haven't heard.
I haven't listened to them either. Number 19, Hate Eternal.
That's a cool one. Yeah, I remember the previous bassist actually showed me them. Yeah, I really like that band.
And number 20, Crisian.
For sure.
I could definitely see Crisian.
Ivan likes those a lot.
I still need to listen to more of their stuff. Like, I think the only album I've listened to in full from Crisian was the last one, and it was really good. But obviously, I need to go back and listen to like Conquerors of Armageddon, Southern Storm, those albums in particular, especially Conquerors of Armageddon, because I hear that was like one of the best death metal albums of the 2000s. So I haven't listened a lot to them, but I've seen them a couple of times together with Ivan, and it's been they're crushing it. And it's crazy. It's all of them brothers, and they somehow have stayed together all these years without any fallout. Because sometimes, like with the Cavalera brothers, there can be a fallout, and it'll take them a long time to heal and get back together for something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it is crazy that they can stay together for that long. Or hell, even the Duplantier brothers from Gojira
Yeah, for
staying
sure.
together since '96 when they were Godzilla back in the day.
Yeah. I guess that you got to find or kind of have a mindset that you're gonna spend a lot of time together. So you need to, if somebody needs space, give them space. Don't push it. You know?
Yeah, don't push the buttons too far, otherwise it could get ugly.
Yeah.
It could absolutely get ugly, like, with Max and Igor Cavalier when the Max left and all that stuff happened. But thankfully they're back together and still killing it to this day.
Yeah, they're doing a lot of like Cavalier stuff, like the
re-recording the first two Sepultura albums due to the production not being good. And I hope they don't try and do Beneath the Remains or Rise, because those are perfect the way they are. No need to re-record those.
My guess is the to get like the rights to play it properly.
Yeah, play them properly without any legal stuff with Andreas.
Yeah.
Or hell, hopefully, and this is probably the biggest hopeful thing to happen, when Sepultura finally is done after they finish this tour, I hope that Andreas can make peace with Max and Igor and get them on stage to do a set together one last time.
That would be cool. Wouldn't it be a cool idea if when this last tour kind of wraps up that Max and Igor get the name back?
Yeah, get the name back and just keep the old style going. Which, it's no disrespect to Derek Green. Like, I will argue,
he's amazing.
I would say, objectively, he's a better vocalist than Max in terms of enunciating and also even doing clean vocals here and there, and he's pretty solid. But it's just like most of the material in that era, I just couldn't really get into, and it's nothing against Derek. It was just songwriting was lacking for a while. Like I would say, like the best ones from that era. Heard something pop, and I thought it was a bottle, but like Dante 21 and the last two, Machine Messiah and Quadra. I really dug, because it was like it touched on like almost every part of Sepultura's run to some degree. Maybe minus Morbid Visions, but like there was moments that remind me of Arise and Beneath the Remains, but then there was Chaos AD and Roots, and then some of the other Derek stuff.
Yeah, it's not that it's not bad.
No,
like, but it doesn't grab me in the same way that like
the Max
Arise
albums
does.
did.
Yeah.
And then one last thing to touch on before we wrap this up, and that is, so earlier you brought up, and I saw it on your Instagram, that you finished vocal tracking for the new Blood Red Throne. If you were to think of an estimate on when you think it will all be done and released, when would you say? Probably spring 2026?
Yeah, that would probably be something along the lines of that. I'm going down to Kristiansand now on Friday, and then we're gonna record the drums, and then it will be sent to mixing, and it'll be mixed. And we got like the first draft of the artwork, and it's shaping up. But we need to send it for like pressing and like marketing stuff, and all that stuff.
So, have you guys been working on ideas for what the album will be called already?
Yeah, but I don't think I can tell you right now.
Don't tell me yet. Don't tell me yet. I'll find out whenever the news breaks.
We have titles for everything, and the artwork is getting close to finished, and it's only drums and mixing left. So,
sweet. So
it's sounding pretty good.
Yeah, I would say so, because my buddy Ricky and I, we were talking last night. Or actually, it might have been Nick and a couple of others. We were talking about how last night, like, what if, because I saw that you were doing the vocal tracking and such, what if you released a new album right before going to MDF? Like, that would be like the perfect way to like build up the MDF appearance. Like, hey, we got a new album for everybody, and then come to MDF and everybody's heard it by then and just go absolutely bonkers crowd.
Yeah, it's basically that. We're doing probably releasing that album early to spring next year, and then we are hoping to or it's in the plans to do like a lot more touring for that album, and yeah, MDF, and yeah, I think it's shaping up nicely. Ever since we got to like Decibel touring, it has been really good. Like they're treating us really, really well. So like last year, we had some shows in Europe, like opening for Deicide and Exodus, and like playing alongside Skeletal Remains and Imperial Triumphant. We did a show with. Yeah, that was amazing. Like the Exodus show was crazy. We got like half an hour for a show, but it was crazy fun.
Yeah, and definitely like if you guys get to tour here in the States down the road, like because I remember my buddy Nick from Thrall's Mill said that he saw Blood Red Throne in 2010 when they opened for Enslaved and Dimubor here, and that was back. I think that was back when Erlen was still in the band, and Nick said he was just absolutely mind blown at his bass work. So if I were taking charge of booking a tour, I would love to see a tour where it's you guys, Cannibal Corpse, Black Dahlia, and Necrod. I think that'd be a hell of a lineup because you get a mix of classic death metal, 2000s death metal, and modern death metal all into one. And if I were to be in charge of who goes when, it'd be Necrod, BRT, Black Dahlia, Cannibal.
Yeah, that would be really cool.
That would be the perfect tour here in the States, is all those bands.
And yeah, we also did Dortmund Death Fest last year where Black Dahlia played. That was crazy. Me and Sian had like a fanboy moment out in the crowd, like front row singing the songs and just having fun.
That's awesome. And like hell, another band that I've loved in recent times that I hope get to do a tour here in the States. I don't know if you're familiar with Jotun.
Jotun, yeah.
Yeah, from Denmark. Man, I don't know what it is about that band that it just completely changed me last year when I heard their new album. I think it's just because of Jan Aldara's vocals, like how he's grown to become one of my top 10 favorite vocalists of all time in such a short period, just because it's like he could sing anything and everything, whether it be power metal, classic heavy metal, thrash, death metal, black metal. It's like, my God, how does he do it? But that's a band also I would love to see in the States. But with all that said, I think that's a good place to wrap this up. So yeah, bottom line is, hope one day you guys get to come to the States for a tour and come to Cincinnati. And like I said, I would make the biggest ditch effort to go just to see you guys and, of course, everybody else playing. And good luck with the new Blood Red Throne album, as well as what you've got working on with the other bands and so on and so forth.
Thank you.
Also, tell the other guys I said hi, especially Gunnar, because I missed that guy.
Yeah, for sure. No, this was really fun.
Yeah, we'll definitely need to continue this down the road, and also hopefully I can get my other co-hosts, Ricky and a couple others on here, because they probably would like to pick your brain on some things too. And then, of course, we can just spend an hour and a half just talking about our favorite albums the whole time and favorite bands, and just focus on
if you come out to a show, we can listen to death metal and drink some beers and stuff like that. So.
Well, I don't drink, but I would buy a beer. I even said, like, even Gunnar's like, hey, if we come over, we're gonna have a beer, and I said, I don't drink, but I'll buy you a beer. I don't care.
Fuck yeah.
So there you go. But anyway, so thank you all who stopped by for watching this. Of course, I will try and remember to put his social media and band links in the description box for his Instagram, Blood Red Thrones page, Deception, Celestial Scourge, all that stuff. So definitely check out Sindre, awesome vocalist and musician all around. As far as what we've got coming up next, well, we're still getting on some ideas, getting my old friend Nurse Stella Gray onto the show, which we were supposed to have done an episode tonight, but it's not looking likely. So hopefully next week we can get her back on, so that way we can teach her more about death metal, because she's a metalhead, but she's still got a lot to learn, obviously. and I take a lot of pride in turning people on to like crazy bands or even classic bands. Eventually getting Arthur Risk on the show, which that's going to be fun, picking his brain on production and guitar playing. Hopefully getting John McEntee from Incantation finally on the show. Even Miko from Swallow the Sun. There's so many possibilities. It's just a matter of getting schedules together, like with this. Especially people over in Europe, the time difference. Why do we have to have time differences for? Why can't we just have the same time, world? But what can you do? But anyways, with all that said, thank you all so much for tuning in. But until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.